Emily Carter had learned long ago how to carry strength quietly. At 34, she was a self-made millionaire, the founder of a fast-growing logistics software company based in Austin, Texas. Her days were filled with board meetings, contracts, and numbers that climbed higher every quarter. Her nights, however, belonged entirely to her 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Lily was the reason Emily worked so hard, and the reason she often felt painfully alone. Emily's husband had died 5 years earlier in a highway accident, leaving her pregnant and shattered. She had rebuilt her life from the ground up, not only for herself but for the tiny life growing inside her. She never remarried, never even dated seriously. Business was easier than emotions. Numbers didn't leave, people did. But as Lily grew older, she began to notice what Emily had tried so carefully to hide. One evening, as they sat on the couch watching a family movie, Lily leaned her head against Emily's shoulder and asked softly, "Mommy, why don't I have a dad like the other kids?" The question pierced Emily straight through the heart. She paused the movie and pulled Lily closer. "You do have a dad, sweetheart. He's just watching over us from heaven." Lily nodded, but her eyes were thoughtful. "I know. But I mean someone who comes to school events. Someone who fixes things. Someone who stays." That night, after Lily had fallen asleep, Emily sat alone in the dark, staring at the city lights outside her penthouse window. For the first time in years, she admitted a truth she had been avoiding. Lily wasn't the only one who felt lonely. A few weeks later, during one of their Sunday breakfasts, Emily made a surprising decision. "Lily," she said gently, pouring orange juice into her glass, "what would you think, if Mommy tried to find someone to share our life with?" Lily's eyes widened. "Like, a new dad?" Emily smiled nervously. "Something like that. But only if you were okay with it." Lily thought very seriously. Then she grinned. "Can I help pick him?" Emily laughed, assuming it was a joke. "Help pick him?" "Yes," Lily said excitedly. "Because he has to be nice. And kind. And he has to like pancakes." Emily agreed, not realizing that those words would change both their lives forever. Over the next few months, Emily tried dating, carefully, politely, unsuccessfully. Most men were intimidated by her success. Others were more interested in her wealth than her heart. Lily met a few of them briefly and quietly disapproved every time. "He talks too much about money," Lily whispered about one. "He didn't even ask me what my favorite color is," she said about another. Emily started to feel foolish. Maybe she was asking for too much. Then one rainy afternoon, her car broke down on the side of the road. She had a meeting in 30 minutes and no patience for delays. Lily sat quietly in the back seat as Emily called roadside assistance. The tow truck took them to a small, old-fashioned auto repair shop on the edge of town. That was where they met Jack Miller. Jack was nothing like the men Emily had been dating. He wore grease-stained jeans and a faded gray t-shirt. His hands were rough, his smile easy, and his eyes kind in a way that felt rare and genuine. He greeted Lily first, crouching down to her level. "Well, hey there," he said warmly. "Looks like you and your mom had an adventure today." Lily smiled instantly. "Our car stopped working." "Cars do that sometimes," Jack said. "But don't worry. I'll take good care of it." Emily noticed something unusual. Lily wasn't shy. She was talking, laughing. While Jack inspected the car, Lily followed him around the shop, asking endless questions. He answered every single one with patience, even letting her hold a wrench under supervision. When Emily apologized for Lily being a distraction, Jack shook his head. "She's not a distraction at all. She's curious. That's a good thing." The repair took longer than expected, so Jack offered them a ride home in his old pickup truck. Emily hesitated, then agreed. During the ride, Emily learned that Jack was a single father. His wife had left years ago, unable to handle the responsibilities of parenthood. He had raised his son, Noah, on his own until Noah left for college the previous year. "He's my best work," Jack said with quiet pride. By the time they reached home, something had shifted. A week later, Lily asked a question that caught Emily completely off guard. "Mom," she said casually, "can Jack be my dad?" Emily nearly dropped her coffee. "Lily," she began. "I like him," Lily said simply. "He's kind. He listens. And he smells like engine oil, but in a good way." Emily didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She told Lily gently that life didn't work that way, but the seed had already been planted. Jack and Emily began talking more, first about the car, then about work, parenting, life. Jack never treated Emily like a trophy or a bank account. He didn't care that she was wealthy. He cared that she was tired sometimes. That she worried about Lily. That she was human. Slowly, cautiously, something real grew between them. One afternoon, Emily invited Jack and Noah, who was home for a break, over for dinner. Lily was ecstatic. She sat between Jack and Emily, beaming, as if she already knew something they didn't. After dinner, Lily pulled Jack aside and whispered something into his ear. Jack looked stunned, then thoughtful, then smiled. Later that night, he told Emily what Lily had said. "She told me she already picked me," Jack said softly. "And asked if I would pick her too." Emily felt tears fill her eyes. "I don't want to rush you," Jack added quickly. "I know our worlds are different. I'm just a mechanic." Emily shook her head. "You're exactly what we didn't know we needed. Love didn't arrive with fireworks. It arrived with consistency." Jack showed up. He came to Lily's school events. He fixed things around the house without being asked. He listened when Emily talked about her fears. He never tried to control or impress her. When the media eventually found out that the powerful CEO was dating a small-town mechanic, the headlines were cruel. "Millionaire slums it with mechanic. Single mom settles." Emily read none of them aloud. One evening, Lily came home upset after hearing classmates repeat something they'd heard their parents say. "Why do they think Jack isn't good enough?" she asked, her voice trembling. Emily knelt in front of her. "Because some people think love is about status. But we know better." Jack overheard the conversation and later tried to step away, afraid he was hurting Emily and Lily's world. Emily stopped him at the door. "Don't you dare walk away because of someone else's ignorance," she said firmly. "We choose each other." The day Jack proposed wasn't extravagant. It happened in his garage, with oil-stained floors and the smell of metal in the air. Lily stood between them, holding a small handmade sign that read, "Will you be our family?" Emily said yes through tears. They didn't live in a fairy tale mansion afterward. They lived in a home filled with laughter, arguments, repairs, homework, and late-night talks. Jack didn't become rich. Emily didn't become smaller. They became balanced. Years later, at Lily's school graduation, she stood on stage and thanked, "The dad who chose me when he didn't have to." Jack cried openly. Emily squeezed his hand, knowing that wealth had never been the thing that saved her family. Love had. And sometimes, the best father in the world isn't chosen by money, power, or society, but by a little girl who simply knew what kindness looked like.